Good morning, good evening, whatever time of day it is for you. Welcome to this thing that I do called Thor's Entertainment. I am Thor, and it is Friday, so it is time for another Fatal Friday video. Fatal Friday is a series where I look back on videos where I casually went into the Kombat League to try and pull off unique finishers, like the Brutalities and Fatalities for the various characters in Mortal Kombat 1. This week's video is for the Kameo fighter Kano, and it is going to be highlighting his brutality. You alright, mate? The You Alright Mate Brutality is going to be the brutality version of Kano's forward throw. The primary character assisting Kano in getting this brutality is going to be the DLC guest character Peacemaker.
The things I could do with your life story.
How about we make it a streaming series? Jesus! What the hell?
Take one. Action!
This time around, the random opponent that I got in the Kombat League was somebody using johnnycage and the Kameo Cyrax. I was pretty curious how this one was going to go. My opponent was only level 4, so they probably had not played the game very much. Actually, that was something that seemed to be the case with a lot of the people I was fighting whenever I was playing as Peacemaker. I am not really sure why, but even if they had not been playing Mortal Kombat 1 for very long, they had not yet lost in the Kombat League, so maybe, hopefully, this would be a good matchup. They did end up opening the fight by landing an overhead combo starter on me. Then things got a little bit one-sided for a while. I was not landing any major combos, but I ended up with a pretty good life lead for a little while. Eventually, I would have johnnycage just one hit away from losing the round, but I would somewhat drop the ball when it came to closing out the round. That leads to me almost losing this round. By the time it is over, we are both just one hit away from losing the round, but I did manage to stop that comeback using the armored human torpedo attack, and that ends up winning me the round. So yeah, at least for the first round, despite the level gap, we started off with a pretty close fight, which is exactly what I wanted. Once the second round began, I ended up landing a pretty decent combo that resulted in over 320 damage, and similar to the previous round, I pulled away with a little bit of a life lead, although that life lead in the second round is not nearly as high. Also, like in the first round, I got a little bit indecisive towards the end, and that's because I really wanted to end this fight with a brutality, so I was shooting for that, and I did not want to kill my opponent in a different way by mistake. This has a similar result as before, where johnnycage ends up chipping away at my life lead until we are both under 30% health. Unlike in round 1 though, Johnny ends up actually finishing the comeback and taking the second round. So the first match between us in the Kombat League set was coming down to a third and final round. I was glad to be getting a decent fight after being worried about the level gap, so this is a good thing for me. In the third round, johnnycage opened it up with a shadow kick. I managed to block that, but I failed to punish it. Fortunately, that does not really matter because I follow up with a combo that ends up landing anyway. I end up messing up that combo, so it only gives me about 250 damage on johnnycage, but that is still better than nothing. Then a few gunshots and a 350 damage combo later, the third round was nowhere near as close as the previous two, and I felt like it was brutality time.
Let's see Batman do that.
Brutality. Peacemaker wins.
And that was the You Alright Mate Brutality for the Kameo Kano. After that fight, I kind of want to be a little bit more like Kano. He did not land a single hit any time during that fight whenever he was summoned, so he basically did nothing the entire time. And yet he still gets to finish the fight with a brutality and take all the credit. So yeah, I want the easy life of Kano. Also, I don't normally talk about how I pick thumbnails for these videos, but I feel like I should mention it here. I typically just go frame by frame through the brutality animation, that way I could try to find something cool and in focus, that way I could take a screenshot of it and just use that as the thumbnail. I did that same thing this time with the You Alright Mate Brutality, and rather than finding a cool frame, I found what I thought was kind of hilarious. It is when Kano is revving up for the headbutt. He leans all the way back, and whenever it's paused, it looks like Kano is off balance and about to fall over. Meanwhile, johnnycage is hunched over from being stabbed, And in the middle of all that, Peacemaker is posing and smiling like a jackass, and I just thought that was the perfect image. This cartoonishly captures my mental image of a group of guys who went out and drank a little bit too much. Kano is the guy who is too blacked out drunk to stand up straight. Johnny is hunched over and about to hurl because he cannot hold his liquor. And Peacemaker is the overconfident drunk who has no idea what is going on anymore, especially at this point in the night, but he is still posing and smiling and having a great time. This has nothing to do with the brutality, Mortal Kombat, or really anything in this video, but I find it funny. So I'm going to go ahead and make a thumbnail out of it, and I just wanted to point it out. Anyway, I end up winning the first round after catching Johnny Cage with the meter burn version of the gunshots. That is where you fire 3 times and the third bullet restands the opponent, temporarily stunning them for a brief moment for a follow-up attack. That restand and that stun end up lasting long enough for me to close up the entire fight with another human torpedo. Round number 2 goes really well for me, and once Johnny is just one hit away from death, I start fishing to do the brutality one more time.
Alright, that might be overkill.
Brutality! Peacemaker wins.
Now, that is the you alright mate brutality times 2. The throw-related brutalities are usually the easiest ones to get, so I try my best to highlight those twice in these videos. Johnny Cage ended up being compliant with me, and I managed to pull it off twice. And on that note, thank you to the randomly paired up Johnny Cage user I got for this fight. I cannot choose who I go against in the Kombat League, so just thank you for participating. The first match was really close, and I enjoyed that. The second match was much more in my favor, but I still had to work for it, and I had a pretty good time. And in the end, I won with a score of 2-0. Even though I have already pulled off the brutality twice, I will make sure to show it one more time at the very end of this outro. That way we all get to enjoy it one more time before we part ways on this Fatal Friday. On that note, I'm going to start wrapping things up here. So thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, feel free to check out the other things I have on the Thor's Entertainment channel. I do have other Mortal Kombat 1 finisher videos just like this. They are under the various Fatal Friday playlists that I have. I also have playthroughs of various Mortal Kombat story modes, as well as playthroughs of other games like Resident Evil 2, Crash Bandicoot, just a few different things. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, feel free to check it out. Otherwise, again, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, take care, and hopefully I will see you next time.
Alright, that might be overkill.
Brutality! Peacemaker wins.